I really don't want to talk much about this, but people have asked me if this challenge or the last year challenge was what does it cost to be a member or do the challenge, and I have always said it doesn't cost you a dime, but that have given me the reason to make me a Ko-fi account. So if anybody wishes to support this channel or my work with the challenges both this year and last year, you are welcome to go to the Ko-fi account and make a support there. There is a link below here under the little word more. So I won't talk more about this in this video. Hello, and welcome to February's Stitch Circle Show Challenge for 2026. Before we start the challenge, there are a couple of things I would like to say. First of all, under the little word more or in the description box, you will find all the different informations linked to the Facebook group. You can apply if you want to do the challenge. Don't apply if you don't want to do the challenge. You can get inspiration here from this video, and that is that I don't want members in the group that don't want to participate. That's just my way of doing things. And there will be a playlist for the 12 challenges there will be for this year. I can also put a playlist in for the last year's Stitch Circle Show Challenge, where there were weekly challenges, and there are 52 videos for that. I will also put a link in where I made this book, where I will place my embroideries. It isn't a must. It's absolutely not a must to have a book. You can do whatever you want to do with your embroidered pieces. You can make a wall hanging, for instance, put them in a board sketchbook, buy an old book at the thrift store and glue them in there, sew them on a sheet, or do whatever you want to do with them. That is up to you. If you have been with me all last year, you have noticed perhaps already, if you have done January, that this year is a little different from last year. Last year, my samples were about 13-14 centimeter by 13-40 centimeters, and all the Dogma rules for the whole year, I told you to use this and that color and this and that kind of fabric and so on. But this year, the color you choose is totally up to you. I won't interfere with your colors of your fabric, or what kind of fabric, or what kind of threads you are using. That is totally free this year. But the only thing that is the same every month here is that your base layer is going to be 25 by 25 centimeters, and that is 10 by 10 inches, about 10 by 10 inches. And every time we have to trace a circle, and I will use my plate there, that is 20 centimeter or 8 inches in diameter. That is the first rule, and this rule is the same for all the 12 months of this year here. And so that is how it is. Since it is a much bigger substrate or much bigger embroidery we are going to do this year, it will take you a longer time, and that is why both for my sake but also for your sake, it is only once a month. And I will say again, as I have said many times before, please try to stick to the rules. And if you are going out of it, an idea because you have made this, make more than one and take it where it leads you in the next one. That is what the Dogma rules also is about. The Dogma rules, and that I also have explained this as many times, is just a set of rules to get you going. And as soon as you're going and have done this, it can lead to many other things and be an inspiration for you. Right now, I don't have any ideas what the different ones will bring, because I will take inspiration in perhaps some of my own earlier embroideries, perhaps some of my own photos from something I've seen on holiday or an exhibition or anything. It can be a sentence perhaps, or something I have seen on the big internet that inspires me. It can be many different things, I think, for now. But I know what we're going to do here for February. But this was January, and it is still sitting there nicely in my book. And I glued it on with a wallpaper paste, and it is sitting there quite fine. But I won't do it, but if you, for instance, want to take it off, it is quite easy to pull off, and you won't damage anything by that. And that is why I like to use wallpaper paste instead of many other kinds of glues. But away with this big book here. It is 13 by 13 centimeters, and there also is a link for how you can bind such a book here with slip knot binding. But away with that, and let us start. So here we go. This print here is this month's inspiration, and I can tell you what it is. It is, if I have my iPad here, and perhaps I can hold it up here so you perhaps can read it. But a lady called Atkins. It is a book page from a book with photographs of British Algers. It is a cyanotype impressions, and it is made between 1843 to 1853. And she took all these and made all these cyanotypes, I think it's called in English. And the cyanotypes is the things you made before the real photographer things was invented. They are always blue, but you can look it up if you want to know more about cyano printing. And these are some quite nice images of Algers. And there you can see is the one. My printer hasn't made it so blue as it is here. And this is also some Algers. And there some really lovely prints. I have them from a catalog I had somewhere from. So I just took photos of them. So away with my iPad here. I can let it be there for a while, then you can take a screenshot and have that for inspiration. But in the group I will of course post a photo of this. And so have that in mind. This is the inspiration. So what I want you to do is find your substrate, 25 by 25 centimeters. Find two pieces of fabric and sew them together with turn edges so they make a square of 25 by 25 centimeters. And I have chosen these two, and right now they look pretty much the same, I think, but they are different. So I will sew them together and cut it off here so it ends up like 25 by 25 centimeters, and then I will invisible baste it to the substrate and trace my circle. Watch here. That is the first rule. The second rule is take inspiration in this here. I don't expect anyone to do it exactly as it is here. If you can do that and you want to do that, quite fine by me. But again, you have to sew inside the circle again. Or we always just sew inside the circle. And I have chosen the stitches you only must use here. And that is back stitches, French knots, bullion knots, pistol stitches, and colonial knots. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stitches. And perhaps you noticed all of these stitches I mentioned, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. The 4 of them are all about some kind of knots. And the last one is the back stitch. So in my world, all these lines will be made with back stitches or a little straight stitch, if there's only such a small thing as that little doodle there. And all the other things I will make with the other kind of stitches. And of course I will show you the different stitches I have just mentioned. So I think I will just look at it and draw some line with my pencil and do the thin lines they are there, for instance, all the lines there or where I will put them, and do that in back stitches, and then I will decide where and how I will do the other things. So that is the Dogma rules for this February month. Forgot to say that I will write all the things here below under the little word more, so you can read it quietly by yourself and not me. Yeah, no, I will turn this over and put some small needles in. This is a very thin fabric. I have just been hoarding our local fabric store, shop, or what we can call it. And I was, this is a quite tight weaved cotton, and it is okay to stitch in one layer, but stitching through several layers of this cotton, and it is a very nice cotton, and I can get it in, I think, 100 different colors, but I always end up getting holes here in my finger, and yeah, it isn't so nice if you're stitching through many layers. So I asked them there in the shop if they didn't have anything else that was thinner and easiest to hand stitch through, and they thought a little about it and come up with the idea. This is curtain, very thin curtain fabric, and it is very loose weaved and flimsy. So it is sliding quite easily around, but it's very nice to stitch into if you have a background. Yeah, then again, I will take my ruler here and draw a line so I can have a straight line to sew after. And I will just sew them together with small running stitches, nothing else, and then turn it over and finger press it. So I have taken a machine sewing cotton and I know I will be cutting some of it off, so because it is a little wider than 25 centimeters, but this is all I do, and you don't need to see me do all this sewing. So I will just show it to you when I'm done. So, done with the sewing, so I will just put it up there and finger press it. And I can't remember if I was saying this was cotton. It isn't cotton. It is recycled polyester and linen. And yeah, very nice quality. I'm not very keen on polyester normally, but since it is recycled, I think it's okay. How they do it, I really don't know. But I will just put this piece on here and here. And then I will invisible baste it down. I will put needles in first, and then I will cut the excess off. So again, I will just stick needles all the way around, and when I have done that, I can quickly show you the invisible basting. And many of you already know it if you have been doing last year's challenge. But you never know if there's new ones here. And I can see I'm totally out of frame. That was better. Ouch, ouch. That was my finger. Yeah. I will be back. So pins all around the 4 lines here. So I will just come up here, and I am in both layers. Yes. And then I will go a couple of threads back and come forward about 1 centimeter ahead. If some of you are seamstress or want to make your own clothes you're wearing, you probably know this stitch as the prick stitch, but I know it as invisible basting. Eller på dansk hedder det usynlig risting. So again, I come up, and I've chosen a color you can't see here. A couple of threads back, 1 centimeter ahead of you, a couple of threads back, and a couple of centimeters, eller about 1 centimeter ahead of you there. And I will do that all the way around. It will take me a little. You will probably during the year wonder why I have different sleeves and different rings on, and that is because this year's videos will be taking me more than 1 day to make. So that is why I will change outfit or change my clothes, because I normally do that every day. Except some days here when it's very cold, I have such a jumpsuit with teddy bear fabric inside and outside, and if it's really cold and I want to be cozy or have a nice time or read or drink tea, I love to sit in that. So that is, my nieces gave me one for my birthday, and it is, I have been living in it nearly. So that was a very nice present. Yeah, but you don't need to see me sew all this and hear all about my crazy family. I have just cut the edges off here, and I will do that also on the 2 others when I reach that. And I have done it on a cutting mat, but of course you can take your scissor and cut it off. So I know I have the same amount of space here all the way around with my basting. So I will continue. So you can see here on the back very long stitches, and you can't hardly see them on the front. And I've just buried the end between the two layers. So now they're just sitting there quite fine and ready. And I think of this as a horizon line. So that is why you can decide how big the two pieces you sew together you want them. I don't, you must decide that if you want a big or smaller piece or what you want to do. But now I have my square here. While I was doing, I remembered it is sharpening your pencil. Yeah. So I will just trace it. If you have one of these pens that disappears when you put water on it or when you iron it or so, you can use that. But I will be sewing on the line, so I don't mind that. And I think I will take a bigger, not a bigger, but a thicker thread and do I will do a backstitch line or a running stitch line. I will just see how it goes. But I have this color here. Yeah, you can see my color scheme here for this project is nothing at all. It hasn't anything to do with blue, but I like my book to be in the same color scheme, the earth tones and light colors, and I think these look quite nice, and if I will use them all, I don't know. But this here is a little thicker, so I think I will use that. I will start on that, and then I can show you what I decide to do. I won't make a big fat knot, just a small one, and because I don't like it, because I'm gluing it in a book, and that is a hard watercolor paper, that there will be bumps where my knots is. So you can make small knots or just don't make knots at all and just let the end hang there. It doesn't matter, because you aren't going to use it for anything that so it will go up, or it is something else. If you want to make a bag or something you wear, then you have to secure your ends. And that is one thing I really don't like. Like, not really don't. I'm not so keen on back stitches, because it will go like if you ain't hitting the same hole you came up of as you go down in, and that can be more or less, it's not difficult, but it is, yeah, we have to practice a little so that it looks nice. Yeah, I want to show you the different stitches. Back stitches, you know, and the simple French knot is like this, and you can turn as many times as you want, but if you are going to make more than 5 or 6 or 7, it would end up a little funny. But if you take, for instance, 3 wraps, 1, 2, 3, and you go down nearly the same place as you came up, keep the tension and pull the thread through. I can do it again. Keep it here between your index finger and your thumb, and you always go from where the thread comes up and out of the thread, not the other way around. Then you will unravel it. 1, 2, 3. Keep the tension and go down nearly in the same hole. That was French knots. And if you want a pistol stitch, you come up and you do exactly the same thing. 1, 2, 3. But instead of going down in the same hole, you come up a little further apart, and you decide how far away you want your stitch to be. So you come up, 1, 2, 3, and go up here. Keep the tension and pull through. So that was the pistol stitch. And for the colonial knots, I'm not very used to do them, but I think they lie a little different on the surface than the French knot does. And you go under the thread like this and make one turn and nearly down in the same hole, and keep your tension again. And it makes a nice little knot. It can be bigger than that. Yeah, of course it can be, depending on how thick your thread is, but under as and over like a normal French knot. Keep your tension and go down. I haven't done a lot of this stitch here, but I think I will be very fond of it because, as I say, I think the small knots lies quite nice on the surface. So again, under the needle, under your thread there, one time over, or one turn, and nearly down in the same hole. There. I can do once more. The needle under your thread, so it sits like that, and one warp, yeah, you know what I mean. There. That is the 3 different kind of knots there. And then there is the bullion knot, and that is a little more tricky. You come up, and depending on how long you want it, you go down and come up in the same place where you came down. And you don't pull your needle all the way through. You let it sit like this. And here it is really important to have a needle where the eye isn't bigger than the rest of the needle. But there, then you turn it. If you turn it this way or that way, it doesn't matter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16. And again, keep your tension and push it down here, there, and keep your tension, hold the wraps around you, pull the needle through, and you can see there's sitting all this material, all these wraps there, and you just pull them through with your needle and go down there, and then you have a little fat worm sitting there. I have sewn back stitches all the way in the circumference, and now I have my picture here by my side, so I just want to trace a thin line, so I think I can do back stitches after that, and I will concentrate on that line there. And of course I can't do it exactly. Yeah, I won't, and I can't do it exactly the same way, and it isn't my goal to make an exact copy of that, but it is my inspiration. So let me see here. I think I will start here. I'll come up here in the light area. And something about that, like that. for a start. And when I've sewn all this on, I can start making some of the longer there. I will go nearly to the circumference. Yeah, I know some of this perhaps will disappear even though before I start sewing, but that is just to give me an idea of what it is I'm doing. And yeah. But you can see I'm just looking at it and drawing some fine lines, and I think for now it looks quite fine. So again, I will start sewing this line here, and I think I will start with my darkest thread like this one here, and do exactly the same with back stitches. Oops, there was another thread there, as I have done in the circumference. And away with my and here I don't think it matters so much. It is a little tick 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 and not totally random, because I think the way I see it, because there are all these small things there, it isn't like that. It's more like that. Okay. I have small threads everywhere. So I will sew all these lines here. I can show it when I've done the long one, and then a few of the smaller ones, and then I can show it when I have done all the line work, and then we will get to the funny part with all the different knots. So this was the first line there, and in the hindsight, it isn't perhaps the cleverest thing to make all the thin lines, because I have all these small bumps or seed pods or what it is there, and the biggest ones of them I want to make like bullion knots, and the smaller they get, I will make them big French knot, smaller French knots, or the colonial knots, or perhaps pistol stitches. But so I think I need to have two things going at one time: a thread where I make the thin line, and a thread where I make these 2, 3, for instance. There I will make like bullion knots. So if I think something like this, I can say I can start up here with my same color thread and go a little down until I reach the point where I want my bullion knot. Think of, I haven't done this before, like so everything is also new to me, so I don't always have the big view of what to do, but I think I will get there somehow. So now you can see I have left a little space here, and that is where I will make my bullion knots. So I will just make some small of these things here going out. The small spokes here. So there with them, and then I can just put my needle in there, and then I have taken this color here and taken a double thread, and I've taken another needle, one of these needles where it is the same thickness even though there is an eye, and that is the easiest way when you're doing French knots and knots or bullion knots and have these Milner's needles or tulip needles where there isn't any difference between the size of the needle, where there isn't an eye and where there is an eye. Yeah, but I will see here. I will just come up. It is nearly getting so dark, so perhaps I can come in a little closer. Perhaps you can't see what I'm doing. I'll just come up here and where the olive green thread ended, and then I will go down here. Oops, and move everything I can get tangled up with and come up in the same hole. And then it's about doing as many turns as you can wrap here. Push them together and say when you push them together, is it about the size of the fabric here there is between, and I think it is quite nice there. Hold on all the turns, pull the thread through and swipe it backwards there, like that, and now you have a nice bullion knot there. It looks like a small worm, and it could have been bigger, but perhaps I can make two so it looks more. And now I have to turn it a lot of times around here. So I just hold it at the end, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and squeeze them down here. Let's see, a couple more. Hold them tight between my fingers and push it through, and there it is, a small bullion knot. Yeah, it is. So let us do it again, so you perhaps get it under your skin. A smaller one. Up, down and up in the same hole. Push your needle through so you have a long piece of it. Yeah, I think that is. And hold it and pull your needle through all the turns. And you can see now it is there, and then you turn it this way and carefully squeeze them down. Perhaps you can find other videos on the big internet that is better than mine is here, but it looks difficult, and it's not because it's difficult. You just have to take care of all the turns there. But this is how it looks, and I think they look quite fine. Perhaps it is a little too thin thread I'm using here. I could use a thicker thread, but I don't have much thicker thread here. But so I will do it like I have done here. It will be quite a delicate piece, I think, this piece here. So yes. I think I will stop for today because there isn't much light anymore, and I'm only filming in natural light. So I will sew a little by myself. Some of the places where I can make lines like that, you know how to do, and perhaps I will also do it, sew some of that and leave a space between or something, because I also want to show you French knots and colonial knots and pistol stitches. But for now it will be a second for you. For me it will be tomorrow. So good morning to you. Are you ready for some more stitching? I did a little more yesterday before the light went totally away. And you can see I have made these bullion knots, and I took a thicker, I think it is merino yarn, and made these exactly the same way as I had done the others. But right now I think I will do a little more knots here in this area here. So in this little spoke here, I will make a colonial knot. So under and over and into the fabric nearly the same way. And I have taken a quite bright yellow one here, and it isn't a very big one, but I think this piece will be a very delicate one. It is not heavy stitched, if you can say so. So perhaps I can put a little one down here also. Or I could have chosen to make the thread double, but again under the thread and over and down, and keeps the tension there. And perhaps we can make a couple of them sitting there on the branch. Under, whoops, and over, and keep the tension, and into the nearly same hole. And here we go. There. Just some small ones there. You can see there I made them with a single thread, and here I made them double so they feel a little more, but it looks quite nice. But I think I will here on this place here try to make a that was colonial knot, so now I think I will try to make a pistol stitch. So the way that they go are you come up and then you do as many times as you want, and then you go out further and keep the tensions again, and there then you have a knot with a stem, and since I want a little snoot here, I'll just come up again and go down here, there, and not to make this yellow thing be the only one. I will do a colonial knot again here, I think, under. Yeah, it is much easier to do them if you're having it in a hoop, and you're more than welcome to use a hoop in this challenge here if you want to. There, this little one here, but perhaps we can make another pistol stitch here coming out here. And right now I don't think I will look much more here on my paper. I'll just do what I think look nice. That was the pistol stitch, and make a little stitch here also. There. Like that. Okay, I have this flat cotton thread, and I will see if I can make a bullion knot with that, but I have my doubts, but now I will try. If I don't like it, I can always pick it up. Yeah. Oh, and there's a knot there on the thread, so away with that. There. So again, I'll go down here and come up again there, and I've taken this small needle here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That was 12. Let me see if this will work. Oh yeah, I think I'm into something very dirty here. But I think I can do it, I can do it. Yeah. That is a nice bullion knot. You really have to practice this stitch, and don't be afraid of it. Yeah, that looks quite nice. And you can see I've taken too many turns, and then it will make like a small worm or a small arch, but I don't mind that. In fact, I like that. But I will work some more here, and then I can show you some steps under the way of it, because I think I have shown you French knots, pistol stitches, colonial knots, and bullion knots, and back stitches. So all the stitches you know, so you will have to decide where you place yours. But now you also have seen me doing the line work, so I think you have a good idea of what it is I'm doing. So done a little more sewing, a lot of a little cluster of fat bullion knots there, and some pistol stitches and French knots. So I will just continue. I think this will take me a couple of days to be done with this, but I'm really enjoying it, and that is also a very important thing, to enjoy what you're doing and not just rush through it. So enjoy what you're doing and let your thoughts go walk about here. It perhaps doesn't look like I have many different colors, but in fact I have a lot of of different spools here on my table right now. So I try to variate it. So, but it is a fine, delicate embroidery, not something I'm very used to do. I'm normally not, yeah, I think the things I do doesn't look like anything. It is more geometric, if you can say so. A couple of French knots here, and there. Oops, there. It really gives it something when you put these small things on here. And there's a little pig there, or spoke, or what it's called. There. There, and here at these ends I will just put a little straight stitch on the end here. And I also want to say, I really don't care how the back looks as long as my embroidery is lying flat. And I think it is quite flat. Can you see how that just gives it that extra when you're putting these 3 small straight stitches on there? But I will continue a little more today, and I think I also have work for tomorrow. Okay, this is what I think I will do this time here now. Perhaps I will sew a little more in the afternoon. It depends on how my day is going, but I don't think I need to do something more, but I think I will let a little area here be free and then fill more things in here. But you can see I'm slowly working my way through the circle here. So for you it will be but for me it will be tomorrow again. Good morning again. And I did a lot of sewing yesterday, and I only will make one more simple little knot here, and then I will consider this done. And you can see here my backside is looking like a traffic jam, but I don't mind. And neither should you, as long as it is nice and flat. And of course I will take some, I can see here, some close-ups at the end of the video. It is a quite fine, delicate embroidery this here, so perhaps it's not so easy to see. Yeah, I can see it in my phone, but yeah. So this is how the February's challenge stitch circle show challenge ended up. And of course, if you want to, you can take and make some rounds with running stitches here if you want to, but I don't want that. I want it to be like this. So I will take some photos of it and I will show you how I glue it in my book. So I have opened my book here and just placed my embroidery, and here is a long red head hair. Wonder where that came from. Yeah, but I have my little plastic bowl here, or plastic something that has been prawns in it earlier, I think. Yeah, and it is wallpaper paste, and I have saved it in a plastic bag from last month, and I will use that to glue my piece in. So I think I will just take my hand here and flip that up here. You can see it's sitting there still. I have perhaps embroidered it in. And of course, don't put too much on, so it will seep through, but... And there are more red hairs. It's like some of you who always are talking about hair from your dogs and cats. I don't have any of these, but all my own red hair is everywhere. And that is not so nice. I would rather have them on my head than here. And then I will just swipe it down here and eyeball it. And again, then I will swipe this up. Don't overdo it. So, but this wallpaper paste is really a nice thing to glue with. You can't see it if you go out in the white, and you can easily remove your things when you have take it off the paper here if you want to remove it. There it is. See, I need a little more here. There. But I will just let this sit and dry. Of course, if you want to, you could glue this in as your inspiration, or perhaps you can write the Dogma rules or put them in here if you want to. I don't think I want to do that, but for now I will just let it be there and let this dry here. But I really hope you have liked this month's challenge, and I'm really excited to see many of your embroideries in the Facebook group, and I'm so looking forward to that. I hope to see a lot of different interpretations of this picture here of algaes. Yeah, I hope you found my video useful and helpful for doing this challenge. Or if you're doing the challenge, I hope you have got some inspiration. And if you have, please like and subscribe to my little Danish channel. Also share with other people or women you perhaps think would like to participate in this year-long challenge here. Spread the good news. There also is a notification bell you can hit if you want to get a notification every time I'm putting a new video up. And if you only are interested in this stitch circle show challenge, I would there's a playlist connected to this year and a playlist for last year. So you can share that playlist, for instance, for last year for people who are interested. But else I will only say, please be creative and stitch a lot. And please take care. And please be nice to each other. That is all I want to say for now. And for you, embroiderer or seamstress or lady who would like to swing a needle, see you the first Thursday in March for another Dogma rule embroidery. Bye bye for now.